Welcome to the Blindspot podcast, you guys. This is Jonathan Davis. The Blindspot podcast is back, and I want to welcome everybody, our new listeners, our new audience. Just to give you guys a little insight, the Blindspot podcast is about new entrepreneurs, Black entrepreneurs, underserviced and underprivileged entrepreneurs. We're trying to spread the word and reciprocate the message. So we just take entrepreneurs, Black business owners, and highlight their business or their ideas so that they're seen and they're not, operating in the blind spot. Okay. All right. So thanks for joining us today. We have a good show and good guests coming on the show today. And I just wanted to just touch on a few things that Definitive Safety Group has going on. All right. So we got a new website. Check out our weekly blogs for insights and information. All right. Our class is coming in August in Antioch Community Center. Every other month, we do the food safety course in person in Antioch, California. All right. So if you're local and you want to come take our course, sign up at the community center. We also do emergency preparedness every other month at the Antioch Community Center. Okay. So just check us out if you're in the area or if you live out this way. Come take one of our courses, okay? It'll keep you prepared. All right. Just rolling into our guest. I want to introduce our guest. He's hailing from Atlanta, Georgia. All right. By the way of 3rd Ward, Houston, Texas. A good friend of mine, good friend of the business. His name is Fance. He's the CEO of Cultiv8hs Solutions. All right, so we can welcome you on, Stephen. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thank you for having me.
All right. So just rolling right into it, can you tell us a little bit about Cultiv8hs Solutions?
Yes, so Cultiv8hs Solutions partners with farmers to help them grow hemp to make fuel and other sustainable products like hempcrete and to build affordable homes.
Okay. And, for Cultiv8, what are some of the visions that you have for the company, moving forward?
The vision I have for the company essentially focuses around making energy available for everyone. And when I say everyone, I mean for the most distant communities, those who oftentimes have to utilize fossil fuels or may not even have access to fuel. Our goal is to make clean energy available for them and to also provide additional revenue for farmers to help clean the soil and to essentially educate everyone on all the 50,000 use cases and how it benefits the earth. So,
yeah, you spoke about education just now, and that kind of jumps ahead. But I want to touch on education. A lot of people know what cannabis is, but they may not know what hemp is. Can you differentiate the two? What's the difference between recreational cannabis or medicinal cannabis and hemp?
Yes, so the main differences between, I say, with cannabis, cannabis can be differentiated between industrial hemp, which we utilize, and also marijuana. So most people know marijuana is for recreational purposes. It can be used for all types of purposes. But with industrial hemp, it has over 50,000 use cases in which it can be used to make fuel like we do. Also, it can make paper. It can make hempcrete, a concrete replacement, which we use to make affordable homes. And it also can be utilized for plastics, pretty much anything that is made out of plastic, wood, or most products in our homes, in our cars, our clothing can be replaced by hemp. And as a result, because hemp it grows every 90 days, it is carbon negative, in which it sucks up carbon dioxide in the air, uses it as food, and produces oxygen. And with hemp, it stores that carbon dioxide and when it stores it, we use that waste to make other byproducts and able to store it in hempcrete. So that's how we utilize it. And our goal is to not just produce clean fuel and other sustainable products, but also to educate the farmers and the greater community on the benefits, not only from a environmental standpoint, but from a capitalistic standpoint as well. Because of all of the use cases, it is an additional revenue, as mentioned, not only for the farmers, but also for utilities, for refineries, wholesale fuel distributors. Anyone can utilize hemp, and
with that utilization, not to cut you off though, but with that utilization of the many products and everything, so Cultiv8 kind of emphasizes on sustainability, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So could you kind of touch bases on some of those steps that your company takes to ensure sustainable practices?
Yes, some of the steps that we take, for one, is sourcing the seed from reputable suppliers. Also, in terms of making sure that farmers are not using pesticides, because with hemp, you don't need it. And in addition to making sure that all of the waste is not just thrown or disposed of, in that we utilize it for additional products. So by utilizing all of the end products and making sure that there's pretty much zero waste, we are providing a sustainable solution for everyone.
Yeah. And then, operating in the hemp industry, cannabis industry, we all know there's tight-knit regulations. Some of those regulations can be prohibitive at times. With the varying regulations across the region, how does your company effectively navigate and adapt, the changing rules and regulations, throughout that landscape? And then, both, if you can touch on both domestic and international, how do you guys going to ensure compliance or operational efficiency?
Yes, so for regulation, compliance is oftentimes a huge struggle for everyone within the environmental space. We combat it by always keeping a finger on the pulse by researching. Also, having a number of partners, law firms, advisors who educate us on a weekly basis, oftentimes, and really keeping up with government bodies, not only here in the United States, but also in other countries. And by doing so and really creating a community, and by having a community, we're able to distribute information a lot faster, utilizing online resources. LinkedIn has been a huge resource for us with that community aspect, and also in terms of receiving information and also educating the masses.
Yeah. And as you said, you mentioned social media, technology. So, we're creators, thinkers, innovation. What role does innovation play, in this industry? And also, can you show some examples of innovation or technology that Cultiv8 plans to implement in their operations?
Yes, so our main competitive advantage is utilizing technology. So my background, I studied mathematics at Morehouse College, and there I was able to dive into a lot of the different models, linear regression, different mathematical models that's used in AI today. And, started my career building airplanes for Lockheed Martin, C-130J, and then started consulting for large Fortune 50 companies. Technology has always been a forefront, a skill of mine, which I've been able to provide to large clients and also help fund many of our operations. But by utilizing AI and cloud, our competitive advantage is we're able to provide clean energy and these other products at an affordable price, scalable, in which, many what they call climate change or clean energy or sustainable technologies. The big problem is that, yes, you can have something that may work on a testing level, or in theory, but when you talk about scaling a solution, by utilizing cloud and AI, we're able to do that and provide that internationally.
Got you. And then, can you discuss or touch on community outreach and social responsibility for any initiatives that may be undertaken for Cultiv8? Any ideas on how to implement any initiatives for the community?
Yes. So with Cultiv8, our main mission is to provide, clean energy and affordable homes for everyone. A big issue that's happening not only here in the United States, in Atlanta, Houston, around the world, is housing is skyrocketing. And what we see is, no matter where you go in the world, people will always need energy and they will always need a place to lay their head. And by utilizing hemp and AI and cloud technologies, we're able to do that. So our goal is to enter into large contracts with Fortune 50 companies that buy our fuel products and then use the waste to build affordable homes. And we're talking about a home that pretty much anyone can afford.
Yeah.
And the great thing with our business model is that each home is actually a carbon storage sink. So you're not only living in a nicely built, sustainable home, but with our system, you'll be able to be a carbon manager and get paid for actually managing carbon storage, in which large companies pay us and through our partners to provide that service. So that is in a way that we use affordability, sustainability, and honestly, just living a better lifestyle.
Can you touch on a carbon sink? Explain what a carbon sink is. Some of our viewers may not be privy.
Yeah. So in the whole discussion of climate change, right? The main driver is that, for one, we have to replace the current products that we use in clean energy. Currently, we get our fuel, diesel, electricity, coal, all from fossil fuels. Now, when you burn those fuels, they emit carbon dioxide and other emissions. So the strategy is that we replace those fuel products, but also find solutions that absorb that carbon dioxide that's in the atmosphere and causing the earth to warm up. So a carbon sink essentially is any type of technology or living organism that sucks up carbon dioxide and holds it in, just like a sink, like water in a sink. And so hemp does this naturally. Like anything that grows out of the soil, like a plant, absorbs carbon dioxide, but we found with hemp stores significantly amounts of carbon per acre, to the point that it is a viable solution to help fight climate change.
Man, that's wonderful right there. That's great. And speaking of the ground and on the ground level, Cultiv8 is also a consulting firm for farmers. Can you touch on how you guys plan to help and maybe incentivize some of your operations for the farmers?
Yeah, so what we found is many of the farmers that we've come across, oftentimes out of Texas, Louisiana, Florida, Georgia, all the way to Pennsylvania and California, many of these farmers are third, fourth generation who are inheriting these farms. And what we found is many of them are getting older and or don't have necessarily family members to take over the farm on a labor perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So the solution that we're providing for farmers is utilizing technology, using our fuel to fuel the tractors, but also using our technology to automate those tractors, so that if you have a farm of 5 or 10, then you will be able to not only manage your current farm, but be able to acquire more land, grow your farm operations with the same amount of people.
Mm-hmm.
And our technology helps farmers basically increase their yield, monitor their crops, and also provide a community to share information with local farmers when it comes to soil education about hemp, about technology. So we provide all of that for farmers on a massive level.
Got it, man. That's great, man. And what challenges have you faced as a CEO in the hemp industry, and how have you overcame those challenges? To kind of drive the success or drive the vision for Cultiv8.
Yeah. So in the entrepreneurial world, there's it always takes time for any business to grow, especially when it's a new market. When it comes to hemp, the biggest obstacle we found is the biased opinion, the negative stereotype that comes from marijuana, cannabis, and whatnot. And only when folks out of California and other privileged people started utilizing a different term called cannabis and trying to change the stereotype is when people began to take it somewhat serious on a commercial level. When it comes to banking, when it comes to insurance, when it comes to dealing with large clientele who traditionally all they know is fossil fuel, the biggest obstacle is the learning curve. No one knows what hemp is. No one oftentimes doesn't know that even hemp is legal in the United States and has been since 2018. And that has been the most obstacles on top of the traditional obstacles of entrepreneurship, of keeping a business operational, raising capital. It's been extremely difficult to raise capital with that same regard, because you deal with, initially it's gotten much better over the last couple of years, but when we first started off, it was very difficult to even find a bank to open a bank account with because of the stereotype of him being with marijuana. And it's just interesting that you hear the word marijuana, people are like, oh no, and then you hear hemp and all of a sudden it's almost cleaned up. And that's a whole nother discussion in and of itself. But when you put all of those different variables in a pot, then those are obstacles. So that's how we've overcome them.
Hey, keep pushing, bro, because they're gonna change their mind sooner or later. And could you share any significant partnerships or collaborations that Cultiv8 has engaged in or has benefited you in the long run, or even short term?
Yeah, I would say on top of my head, when we first started up, I did a lecture at Georgia Tech on industrial hemp, in which we were able to work with the staff and educate everyone on the benefits of it from a industrial paper manufacturing perspective. And so we worked with Georgia Tech and still have a working relationship in that collaboration side. We have worked with Grey Rock Resources with their refinery in Lake Charles and helping retool and produce our first diesel product out of hemp. And that product was tested by AmSpec Labs. So those are the main groups that we worked with in some capacity. And then we have some on the client side. We're still working through those relationships, but we're working with some of the largest utilities in the country to build their own refinery and or power plant that's based out of hemp.
Got it. And you guys are building the app too, right? Or is that top secret? We can't talk about that right now.
No, we can. So we have a few apps / platforms. So the first one we have is the Clean Money app platform that is a fuel platform for refiners to own their own supply chain of hemp-based fuel, but it also integrates with the banking system in which retail customers are able to invest in clean energy projects. So that's Clean Money platform. And then another side project, because Cultiv8, we are a technology company, and we provide consulting for a number of companies, working on a law firm platform that automates the whole law firm utilizing AI. And it automates like the document generation and whatnot. So those are kind of the two main platforms and technologies we've been working on that will be released in the near future.
Oh wow, man, that's big news, man. That's big news. And big ups to you, big ups to Cultiv8. We hope good things come from this. We already see some good things coming from it. How can somebody that wants to be a part of Cultiv8 or want to reach out to you, how can they get a hold of you? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so you can reach us on LinkedIn. We're very active on LinkedIn, do webinars, usually once a month, have a weekly newsletter called Clean Energy from Hemp plus AI. And then also you can email us info@cultiv8hs.com, and I'll provide that as well. We're also on Instagram at Cultiv8hs, Twitter. You can also reach me personal, Stephen Fance. So.
Okay. And you hear from him now, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming on the show, Stephen. We appreciate your time, and we hope you got some good tidbits. The audience got some good tidbits from you, and thanks for being on the show, man. I appreciate it.
The pleasure's mine. Thank you.
All right. So that concludes episode 9 of the Blindspot podcast. We appreciate everybody tuning in, and look forward to next month. We have another guest already lined up. So until then, go ahead and share the video, and appreciate y'all logging on. Thank you.